Okay, so today I'm just going to cover what was covered in class in Illustrator during week 1. So just to remind you all, during week 1 we learnt how to create a new document by going to File, New, hitting OK. We learnt how to create objects by using the rectangular marquee tool, drawing shapes. Remember, this is the fill down the bottom here, and then the one with the box in the middle is the stroke. We can change these by using either our swatches palette or by using the colour palette up on this menu on the top right hand side. We also learned how to make a stroke larger. We learned how to resize objects proportionately, and that's holding down Shift. And we also learned how to resize objects not in proportion by pulling in either a side or a corner. Yeah? Okay. And so what we covered at the start of week 2 was the summary of the direct selection tool. So the difference between the black and the white arrows is the black arrow is simply for moving and for resizing an object, and the white arrow allows you to resize an individual point within an object. So I'll hit Ctrl-Z to go back to my square. If the square is made up of 4 points, you'll see them. If I click on just one corner, you'll see the word anchor comes up on the bottom right, and then I've got these 4 little white dots, okay? And then this is my 4th anchor here, and that's highlighted, which is why it's blue. So what I can do with the white tool, or the white arrow tool, is click on that point and hold my click and then drag that click wherever I want it to be to create a new shape. I can also delete the anchor point, and what happens is I end up with 2 solid edges and 1 edge without the stroke on it. And this just means that the path that I've created hasn't been closed. So the next tool we had a look at was the pen tool, and to reclose a path, all I do is hover over one anchor point, click on it once, and then hover over the second anchor point, and you'll notice that if a small circle comes up next to the pen tool, that means that the path is being closed, and then you'll see the green line appears again. So basically that's the pen tool, an introduction to the pen tool. It can get a little bit more complicated from here, but we'll go over this in subsequent sessions. The only other task that I wanted to show you with the pen tool today is that you also have the ability to create a curved line. So once again, I've just hit Command Z to undo. So again, I need to join these 2 anchor points. So if I click once on one of the anchor points and then click and hold my click, so I'm not releasing it just yet, if I click and hold and then drag my mouse up, you'll see that I've got a curved line, and the blue line that Illustrator is giving me is a preview of what that curve will look like. So if I hold my arrow down to the right and to the bottom, you'll see that the curve is concave, or alternatively I can do a convex curve by dragging it up and to the left. Yeah? Okay. And one last thing is that you can create multiple curves when you're joining anchor points. So what I'll show you is, again, click on your one anchor point, click anywhere between the final anchor point, which is this one up here. So you just click, drag, click, drag, click, drag, click, drag, click, drag, click, drag. Now what you'll notice is every time that I click, it creates a new anchor point, and every time I create a new anchor point, I get 2 handles. The difference between a handle and an anchor point is that the handles adjust the depth of the curve, and the anchor points determine the next point or the next stroke that you'll have on a particular path. So if I want to adjust either the anchor point or the stroke, all I need to do is select my white arrow tool, and then I can either hover over the circle of my handlebar, click on that handle, and you'll see that both move. So both my handlebars are moving and they're facing directly opposite one another. So I can either pull it in and it makes the curve much smaller, or pull it out and it makes the curve a lot stronger and pointier. Or I can move my anchor point by hovering the white arrow over the anchor point, clicking and dragging, and then I can move that there. One last thing you can do is hold down Alt when you click and hold on a handlebar, and what that allows you to do is to move only one handlebar, not both. Okay, so that then becomes very useful if you have a particular shape that you're trying to trace over. Yeah, you may need to hold down just one handlebar. So if I point my handlebar down this way, it's going to be easier for me to draw my next point to the left. But if I put my handlebar up here, it'll be very difficult to draw my next point to the left. So basically you want to have your handlebar in a position where it makes it easier for you to draw the next curve. Have it facing in a similar direction. So again, my handlebar's facing up that way. Okay. All right, and so that is the pen tool covered.